Well, here we are. Wow, I love that. But,
Impromptu dance session.
yeah, I've got to let out that energy.
It's got lots. I got lots of energy.
Well, welcome to this uncut, uncensored edition of. Actually, I don't know what to call this, but I've been to one-on-ones with my friends because I think they're really cool.
We have some tidbits. We have some nuggets.
Yep, I got some nuggets. So, yeah, I'm very happy to share this episode with the lovely Courtney.
Thank you for having me. I love you lots.
Thank you for being on this dysfunctional channel that I have impromptu started, and we're continuing it. I don't know how this is still happening. I should have thrown in the towel like many weeks ago, but we're still here.
We should have started this 2 years ago. That's what I think.
Yeah, we got something to say. Yeah. And today, this lovely lady has a lot to say about her journey on this earth, and yeah.
So we kind of thought today it would be neat to go over my experience with MS, multiple sclerosis, for anybody out there who doesn't know the abbreviated form, which also is autoimmune disease. So if you think of it, your brain basically thinks that it's toxic or a toxin, so it sends little antibodies to your brain, and that causes demyelation in your sheath in your brain. So that's the transmitters, that's the connectors between each brain cell. Those little pathways are destroyed over time. And sorry, my dog is being needy.
Both of our dogs are being needy. Working with it.
Yep. Yeah, so it can also affect your spine as well. So it can affect your brain and your spine, and it's completely random. And each relapse or attack is different from the other, and it affects different parts of the brain or spine. Sometimes they're very tiny, sometimes they are very big and debilitating. A lot of the times it isn't repaired, so you lose a lot of either sensation or abilities of your functions in your body become a lot more difficult. Anything your brain and your spine controls can be affected by this.
Wow.
Yeah. So basically everything.
Yeah.
And I've had it for 10 years. Nope. I got diagnosed at my about 10-year mark. So it took 10 years for me to find out that this is what I had been suffering with for so long. It starts off differently, I think, for everybody. I started noticing these spine electrocutions where I would bend over and this it's like a firework would go off in my spine, and it would static up the rest of my body, and that is usually a very good sign that you have MS or it's starting to affect your body. And that was when I was 18 is when that happened for the first time. So I found it hard to do stretches and stuff, because every time that I would try to put my head lower than my heart, it would send these shock waves up me. That was intense. It's all very intense, but you kind of get used to it after a while, and a lot of things do kind of calm down, and keeping rather de-stressed lifestyle and you really need to be careful about your nutrition as well. Your energy is not your own anymore. For people with MS, your brain actually takes more calories for it to function. So the connections from each brain cell from the communication center, it takes more energy for that to happen because there's blockages, or it's just a slower, like it's a molasses kind of movement or connection. So it actually takes way more energy for your body to and your brain to do the normal things, like your asymptomatic system that you don't control, right? Like your heart rates, your liver, your breathing, all that stuff can be affected as well. So it's just, it's different for everybody.
Now, is it common for, like at that age? Do people usually develop at that age, or does it have to do with maybe some sort of like a trauma-based thing, or is
Yeah,
it?
so the interesting about MS is they don't actually know. Everything's still a question for them. It's because it seems to be different for everybody. They think that being like low vitamin D is a contributor to it. It seems like a lot of northern countries deal with MS. I think it's something like 1 in 8 people have it. Yeah, or it could be genetic, they think, but there's nobody in my family who had MS before me. So
Yeah.
that's still a question for me. There's also research into the effects and side effects of some things that cause MS as well, or autoimmune disorders, but MS is a big one as well. So,
And you had
yeah,
like,
almost like very close to when I started noticing my first issues.
okay.
So I don't know. I never made that connection before until I started, like, just recently. So I'm still, kind of dealing or thinking kind of about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't rule it out.
Yeah, and I mean, normally you get diagnosed with this much later in your life. Yeah, it's not usually it's not a young person's disease.
Right. Well, that was why I was like,
Sorry.
oh,
My dog.
holy moly. Like, is there like a Furby or something? Yes. Oh my god.
It was perfect timing, honestly.
Anyways, sorry. Damn it.
It's different.
Oh, right. I was thinking that it's normally like an elderly.
Yes.
Deal with. Didn't like that. Trying to communicate.
Sorry. Yes. So definitely more elderly. When I was first diagnosed, there's courses that you have to take on MS. It's not everywhere that they offer this. I was very lucky. There's actually a clinic in Edmonton that's attached to the hospital that is like four floors, and it's all dedicated to brain injuries, basically. And they have a clinic for MS. So I was like, and it was free. It was amazing. They have you like, they put you through these courses of like understanding what MS is, how to live with it, what best tools and stuff to utilize to make it a little bit easier on yourself to live with, because it's an everyday thing, unfortunately.
You don't get a day off.
No,
Some days are others.
that's it. Yeah, exactly. But it's not. It doesn't go away. Unfortunately, there's like never a day where I'm just like, oh, I don't have it anymore. There'll always be something that happens, and I'm just like, right. But it's not always as intense. Like when it's bad, it's really, really, really bad, and when it's okay, it's like it's very manageable, and I've found peace in it as well. like a lot of my symptoms for the first maybe 5 to 6 years was always dropping things, always falling, uh, just getting lost. It would be really weird. I'd be like walking home and I would forget the directions to my house that I had walked to a bunch of times before. So I would like not recognize the neighborhood and I'd have to like really, you know, shake my head to get my, yeah, it can be scary.
That's scary. Wow. Like, is feeling disoriented like that? Like, I don't know. For me, I don't like to feel like that, so I couldn't imagine like.
Yeah, it just like coming in waves all of a sudden. It gets scary at times, but it doesn't happen all the time. And when it does happen, you know, I'm more inclined to like really take a breath and, you know, give myself a minute to collect myself. Like I remember I forgot the password to my phone, and I couldn't remember it for the life of me. Like something that I enter into like every half an hour, and then all of a sudden I just like it was completely gone out of my memory. Um, and yeah, like you get muscle spasms, and your muscles stop working, your joints stop working, things just all of a sudden your body just forgets to do it and to use it. So like if you're walking sometimes, well for me personally, like my knees will lock because my body forgets that the next point is to move. So as I'm moving,
Your brain and your body aren't connecting.
just a little bit slower sometimes. I have to be really careful about how much I sleep, how much rest I get, because of how much energy it takes to just function daily. You need like a lot of rest. I think I sleep anywhere from 10 to 12 hours, and anything less than that really 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 affects my MS. Like a day that could be really good and easy to deal with, if I get not a good sleep, then it's going to be a bad day.
Wow.
Yeah, but these are things that I am like I've learned, and like I feel very graced to be able to be retired and to focus my entire life and energy around my diet and my just overall health. You know, some days I do fall, but and you know some days aren't perfect, and even some weeks aren't perfect, but the more that I am taking care of myself, the much easier it is for me to deal with. Like I haven't relapsed my MS in I think over 2 years. I haven't had a relapse, which means a new brain, a new part of your brain is affected. Is what a relapse is, and then a flare up, which is something that you get pretty regularly, which is the symptoms that you already have are heightened, and that's due to stress, illness, lack of sleep, all of these things. And if those are all combined, I mean,
Like,
there
it
are
can
some,
kill you.
I mean, there are some days you just can't get out of bed, like, and that's not good. You gotta get out of bed.
Yeah.
Mm.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how do they test for that? Like, do they do like a brain scan,
Mm-hmm.
or how does that work?
Yeah, so they do a movement test and a reaction test. So they see what parts of your body are disabled by checking like the reactiveness of that area. So, like from being poked to being like kind of what's one of those little things that make your joints go, like one of those kind of all over your body. You do a walking test to see how long it takes you to get from one point to another, and how you walk to get to one point from another, to see if your body is doing weird stuff. Also, yeah, the MRI is a big one. Like for me personally, I struggled it for so long. I went to doctors all the time about different things. I didn't know that they were all connected,
Yeah.
and I got the left side of my body went numb for 9 months. So it was like a line was drawn on my body, and I couldn't feel half of it for 9 months. It took, and it was like completely numb. Like, my friend, she closed my hand in a door, and I didn't realize it because I couldn't feel it, which I guess isn't the worst thing because that probably would have really hurt. But it kind of just like really opened my eyes to like, oh, this is something else, you know.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, and so that got me an appointment with a neurologist, but it took 6 months to get an appointment with that neurologist, even though I was on the top of the list because I had been experiencing not just the numbness, but parts of my body also started working and functions stopped working, and I wasn't able to see. I started losing like my sight, or I wasn't able to, like light started to like really penetrate into my eyeballs, so I had to be in darkness all the time, which when I was working, they had to like put me in an office that was dark and had no lights, and you know, it was just intense.
Yeah.
It was like
Yeah,
hard
because you're like trying to like function in society, but
society.
yet all these things are like triggering your body to like not be able to function, and it's that's so tough. My
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah, especially after so long with like dealing with it unknowingly, what it was. You know, it was just like I was so exhausted by my body. You know, everything always hurt. Everything was always exhausted. Like I had no strength whatsoever, and my brain, I could just feel that it wasn't working properly. Like everything was so slow, everything was so mudded. I felt like I lived in this like hazy cloud that just never lifted, and it just made anything cognitive almost impossible. Um,
Well,
yeah, so it came as a blessing, honestly, when I was diagnosed. It changed my entire life. Like, the lifestyle I had led up to being diagnosed was one where I was basically just trying to end my life. You know, it wasn't healthy the way that I was going about it, and this kind of just saved me. I started focusing on my stomach health, so I cut out everything that I was eating: gluten, soy, MSG, sugars, like any nightshades, like so many things. I just like cut out of my diet, caffeine, and I went
yeah,
like completely clean. And I healed my gut, and I started noticing like the brain fog was disappearing, and I was able to get a bit more function back in my body, and my side started to heal, and I actually regained a lot of my feeling back, which doesn't always happen. So I was pretty blessed for that too. And then that just set me off on an entire path of like, okay, well, this is clearly something that like needs to be like really taken care of. So, you know, I had to lose a lot of my friendships, and that was really, really hard because you don't
yeah,
want to go through that alone. And my 5 year relationship was ended because of it. And that completely changed where I thought my life was going. But it also brought so many gifts. Like, I was diagnosed with MS on my 27th birthday.
yeah. That's a big year.
It's a big year if anybody's into conspiracies. 27, look into that number, and the weird deaths that happen to famous people. But yeah, so I was gifted with a MRI and a whole entire medical team that helped me with physical things and like relearning, because at that point I was pretty worse for wear. And I was like learning how to use a lot of my functions again, and so there was like dedicated therapy sessions that I had with people who, you know, and I would do like weekly and daily routines to help like regain muscle strength and usage of certain muscles and functions in my body. So it was an intense couple of years, and then this happened. What we're going through universally happened. And that was really interesting because I had already been living a life of like almost solitude and healing, and then everything closed down, and a lot of people who I'd known and I had to kind of make a bit of space with. They were starting to experience what I had experienced because I needed to take a step back and heal myself, and kind of opened a lot of other people's eyes to how it's, it's hard, but it's important.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Definitely. Wow. Like, wild journey that you've been on. Yeah, it's wow, and it's amazing how you've been able to, like, when I met you, I would never have known, and you've got yourself out of that hole, and you came out like a beautiful phoenix that you are.
Babe.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Wow. It's crazy. Like when you're, like I don't really know what that feels like to lose control. Like I am so in control of my body. Like I really don't like getting too blasted. Like I don't really drink anymore just because of bad things that have happened.
Yeah.
And I knew when like those that happened, it was like my body got scared. To go through that. It really like puts things in perspective, and makes me grateful every day that like I do right now. I still have a little bit of control over this vessel, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's a wild experience, having to relearn or teach yourself different ways of doing things too, like for doing something one way for 20 years and then...
Diet.
Yes.
So you were mentioning, I don't like to call it diet.
Right. Nutrition?
Nutrition,
yeah.
Yes, schedule. Like what has been really working well, would you say?
Yeah, so definitely anything that's good for the gut. I, live by that. Like greens are really important. Your vitamins, your minerals are incredibly important. Water, you have to drink a lot of water. I can't regulate my body temperature. If we were to hang out for an entire day, you would see me like go through a shirt and a long sleeve and a sweater and different pants and socks because I either sweat through everything or I make a mess of my clothes because I spill something because my hand's just like, nah. And I'm just like, no, that's supposed to happen.
Yeah. Now I can't even talk about being clumsy. I'm like, oh, yeah.
I don't even want to talk about being clumsy, man.
So, yeah.
It's a whole experience. Like, for me personally, my psoases get affected a lot by this, so that muscle is connected to so much. Like, you got your hips, you got your thighs, you got your back, you got your lower back, you got your abs. Like, that muscle is... tight as a tiger. Like it's sometimes hard to move it, so I have to utilize other muscles in my body. So sometimes things are unaligned because your body is relying on muscles that it's not usually relying on, so it's a lot harder for your body to like make up room for it. You notice like your back starts going out because you're holding your body weight differently because you don't have use of a certain joint or muscle at the moment, and it's a lot to deal with. But
we were just talking about this a little bit on our Tito Couture Tuesday, but you were saying that cannabis has been
huge
helpful.
help. Yeah, so when I first got diagnosed, they put me on A through Z. And let me be honest with you, I happily took it because I was in a very dark place. And yeah. I did not recognize myself, and I just needed something to just rein me in. And I found that was incredibly helpful, like antidepressants, Adderall, just like things to help my brain function because it was so exhausted from just being traumatized for so long and not being taken care of properly. So that all just pulled me out of this, this darkness that I was, feeling battered by. But it got to the point where I didn't recognize myself either on all of these medications. So they helped me. They helped calm a lot of the feelings down and a lot of the anxieties and everything that was really hard. But then they started to dull. And that was when I started realizing, like, that's not what I need. I don't need to be dulled. I just needed help to pull my head above the water for a minute.
Yeah.
So then I found cannabis, and I found kratom. It's an Indonesian plant that they crush the leaves, and it helps with pain. It helps with energy. It helps with just so many things. So I use, that. And I also have been using mushrooms recently. I found like very small doses, so microdosing mushrooms has been the most helpful. Sorry, is that okay that I talk about that?
Totally.
Yeah. They're working on it. I mean, there's a lot of studies that go to show that it helps with healing your brain, and so I tried it out, and it's been so helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I tried it because it like turned a switch on. I was like, wait,
Right.
like that's been there this whole time. Yeah, that's actually I keep forgetting to like talk about that too because
it's revolutionary.
It's super healing, and if you're scared to tap into it, maybe do some research into the microdosing.
Exactly.
That's been, I think, the most helpful, at least in my healing journey. One of the most useful tools that I've used. So
anything I'm learning natural is just like it really, really does help. Like, of course, before I was like out of control, losing my mind, but it introduced me to really striving after something that was natural. Like, I did not want to be on these medications. I did not want to have to, like, if I didn't take these medications, they don't tell you about that part. They don't tell you that you have to take every single dose at every certain time, otherwise you're going to have withdrawals. And I did not like that. I don't like, you can smoke as much weed as you want, you're not going to have withdrawals. You can same thing with mushrooms and kratom. I'm pretty sure, from my experience at least, something that I can still walk away from and not feeling like it's.
I have heard some opposing views to kratom. Actually, recently, someone just mentioned that actually can be more like you can get addicted to that too. But I think that everything in moderation.
Sure.
Is
Yeah, because
we're all like, that's the other thing too, is like every one of us has our own unique structure. Like, that's why like the one size fits all medicine world does not vibe well, because we're all meant to have our own ways of.
Yeah, we're unique, all of us.
So again, like when we talk about this stuff,
it's only personally.
Everything in moderation.
Yes.
Don't go hard in the paint with it, but I think that there are a lot of benefits to these plant medicines. Mother Nature.
Exactly.
Like, I think she's been telling us, like, I've had the cure this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all have been poisoning me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, wow. So, that's interesting to see your journey on what you've used to, just get through, figuring out how to balance your body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of almost need to have a routine when you have to deal with something that's forever, because there are points where you don't want to deal with it, and then you really fall behind on taking care of yourself, so you almost have to make it a ritual, like brushing your teeth, or, changing it up sometimes, of course, is good too. But you find that, like, in your deepest, darkest moments, as long as you have been maintaining this, then you're going to at least survive it a little bit easier.
Right.
Yeah.
And you were also mentioning, too, that, like, have you been diagnosed with ADHD, you're saying?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I dealt with that my entire life without realizing it, but it took having MS to finally be correctly diagnosed with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something that, like, I don't talk about it too much. Like, I kind of make fun of it just because it's, like, I don't know, it creates my personality. Like, I just joke. I'm like, yeah, I have ADHD, like,
Don't mind me, I have ADHD.
But also, like, I joke about it, but also people don't understand how hard it is sometimes to function.
It's frustrating.
Like it takes me 2 steps to do something that a normal person doesn't have to really think about.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, if I want to get something done, it takes a lot of effort for me to get everything.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine having that, like, what I deal with on top of, like, the MS. It's just like, oh boy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a journey.
Journey, and there was a reason maybe why your soul chose to have this this experience. And I think that's another reason why I like thinking like that too, is like, then it makes it like it's technically considered like a disease, right? Like, but the disease doesn't own you in this
That's
sense.
the
It's
thing.
like,
Right. I have MS. MS does not have me.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's just an experience that you came here for, and
yeah,
I think you've learned a lot.
So much, yeah.
You've become very understanding of others because of it too, and it puts a whole new perspective on the way that you have lived your life. Because it's interesting. Like, I don't think no one in my life has ever dealt with, like, this, at least. So that's why I wanted to have this conversation, because, like, you're teaching me so much, and it just makes me more empathetic or sympathetic when I'm talking with
both
people, who may not want to talk about it, but, like, at least I now can have that educated conversation.
Yeah.
About it.
Yeah, I am so open to talking about it. It's been a huge part of my existence, and if I can literally help one person not have to experience the amount of trauma that I have because of it, then I'm doing something. Then it was all worth it.
Yeah. And look, you're still here.
I'm thriving.
You're thriving. Yeah, this girl is just killing it. She's gonna do big things. Apparently, yeah, Spirit's telling you that
there are big things coming.
You're about to just poof. Yeah,
I'm down.
Let's go.
I'm down to go up.
Yep. Take it.
Beam me up, Scotty. That's how it sounds. Whoa, you're really good at sound effects.
It's a weird thing.
I'm learning a lot about you today.
Like, yeah, these really weird talents that I, couldn't really make money on,
but they're entertaining.
Make great hearty
noises,
entertainments. Yeah, but yeah, no, I went a different route. But I do love when people do really cool impersonations, like when they're real, like, whoa, how can you have your brain flip that, like, switch that quickly?
Right. It's like they just imagine what the voice sounds like, and then it just comes out of their mouth. It's like channeling or something. That must be it. Maybe that would help, though, with accents, is trying to channel.
I think that is probably a technique. You just made me think of something. But
right? I think we're both like,
I'm going to have to sit on this one for a little while. I'll have to get back to you on it.
Bring that to the meditation table.
Anyways.
Right. So, one other thing I wanted to mention about MS was it made my spiritual self kind of come to life. I started noticing that I really get affected by energies and other people's energies, and I started like feeling these things on like a physical level, which has been really interesting to like kind of relate both. I feel so highly sensitive towards big crowds, parties, another person's energy. I feel like I don't even know if I tap into it or if it just permeates through me. Like, I don't even think that I need to tap. It's just like, oh, hello, come on in.
Yep.
So it can kind of be a little overwhelming at times for that reason, but it is really interesting to see a bit of correlation. I think when I had to go through my behavioral therapy.
Oh, yeah.
So, cognitive behavioral therapy or dialect behavioral therapy, both are basically therapy going into your past and seeing why things are affecting you currently. So, this symptom is more affected by this feeling, so this feeling came from here in your past, and then you kind of have to try and go back to that moment when you first had that feeling that's connected to that symptom.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to heal that feeling so that when the symptom comes up, it doesn't overtake you with a feeling as well.
But, when I did EMDR therapy, that's what helped.
Yeah, very similar.
That your autonomic system doesn't get triggered.
Yes. Yeah, because your body is affected by your emotions.
Yeah.
What? That was something I had to learn.
Yeah, it's really, you have to really be one with your brain to
mind, body, soul.
Yeah.
Very important.
Yeah, that's why I am, or at least I try to be. I can't say I'm like this 100%, but
No.
I do as much mind, body, soul cleansing as much as possible, because I know I still have some. I'm not saying I am a healer.
Well, that's the thing too, is I don't think we're ever healed. I think the journey continues forever, and I think that that's a good thing, because then we're always growing. Did you hear that?
I did. So heard that.
It's a noisy household. Belly? Is that you?
I am getting a little hungry. It's almost dinner time.
She's probably just tapping into that.
Yeah, I concur. Love it. So cute.
Thank you for putting up with my noisiness. I appreciate it.
Hey, this is life. I think that these raw moments are what we need to be seeing, because we've gotten in such a world that's so edited,
right,
that it's refreshing to see things when they're just uncut,
off the top.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you so much for wanting to do this.
No, I appreciate it.
Test out my attempt at putting a channel together.
I have enjoyed every moment. I gotta let you know. Last night I wasn't feeling too good, and I was scrolling through YouTube, and I was just where's Larissa? I need to watch something from her for a minute.
Seriously?
Yeah, I needed a quick pick-me-up. And shut up.
Cheers to that, which, by the way, I'm going to do a quick plug
Ooh!
for my friend.
Yeah, Becky!
My candle mug is to that. Oh my god, it's cute. It looks like kind of like beer.
It kind of does.
Oh.
Yum.
Yeah. Our dear friend Becky, she's so creative. And that's what is so cool about this is like I'm seeing y'all just being so creative and it's making I feel like I'm just like a proud mother.
I feel that.
Her children just
flourish.
Create. Oh, it's a beautiful thing.
My cheeks are hurting.
I have feelings.
They're beautiful. I really, really appreciate your feelings.
Anyways, before I embarrass myself.
No!
Yeah. Happy to have you.
Nah.
I love you.
I love you. Thank you for having me. If anybody has any questions, perhaps, in the comments down below, and I will keep an eye out. So if anybody has any questions for me, I can respond to them. I'd be happy to.
That would be nice, because I think there is a community out there that would love to hear more about maybe your journey. Yeah, you should do a whole series on that. Mm-hmm. I'll be tuning in.
I will, absolutely. Thank you again for asking me questions.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, Courtney Patronus. We'll see you later.
Thank you
see
so
you on
much.
the flip side.
Okay.
If we are still here. We are winging this.
Well, we're winging this whole entire life experience.
There are no instructions to this meat suit, so just you gotta hope for the best.
Hope and a prayer.
Bye.
Bye.
Recording stopped.
You didn't end it. I love you.